What's going on, Broncos fans? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. I'm Matthew Peterson. We got two topics on today's show. One, we're going to look at a trade rumor that came out because, have you heard? The Broncos need a quarterback. So let's see if they can pick one up in a trade. And then the second half of the show, or second two-thirds of the show, really, we'll be looking at Mel Kiper's latest mock draft. See who he has the Broncos taking at the number 9 spot. But before we get to all of this, you guys want the Broncos to trade for a QB? They need one. It is their biggest glaring obvious need right now. In fact, this team picked up 7 wins this year with average to below average quarterback play, and it makes you wonder if they had a competent and consistent quarterback. This team's maybe playing this weekend in the playoffs. So go ahead and like this video if you agree. The latest trade rumor comes from Kirk Cousins. Who doesn't want Captain Kirk? So the Athletics' Chad Graff said the Broncos are a top option to trade for Cousins. Now, it won't be very cheap or easy to pull this off, actually. The Broncos would have to take on a $35 million cap hit. Cousins is a very expensive quarterback, which is why Viking fans actually kind of want to move on from him. He's due to make $45 million this upcoming year. $35 million is base salary, $10 million in a signing bonus. So if any team trades for Kirk Cousins, they're going to have to inherit that $35 million. Most likely. The Vikings may work out a deal where they say, hey, if you trade us a second-round pick, we'll eat $10 million of that. But if you only trade us a fourth-round pick, then you're going to have to take all that money or something like that. Similar to the Von Miller deal. Actually, I played it backwards. But similar to the Von Miller deal, where the Broncos paid the rest of Von Miller's salary this year and then got better picks from the Rams. The Vikings, meanwhile, fired their head coach, fire their GM, may want to blow it all up and go a different direction. Kirk Cousins in his 4 years in Minnesota, actually, if you just look at the numbers, you would not think this has been a bad run. And in some ways, it hasn't been bad. In some ways, yes, it has been underwhelming. You made him one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's gotten you one playoff win. But if you just look at the raw numbers right there, like this past season, 30 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, not a bad day, not a bad year for Kirk at all whatsoever. Now, let me ask this question to you guys, because that's what makes Chat Sports very special and very unique. It's not just a talking monkey up here. I want to see what you guys have to say in the comment section below. Would you want the Broncos to trade for Kirk Cousins? Give me a T for trade or a P for pass. This is the pinned comment on today's show, so let me know after the ad break is over and respond during it, and then I'll give you my take in a moment. Is Kirk Cousins a sexy trade option like Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson? No, but I'm not opposed to it because it's not too unrealistic that Rodgers and Kirk and Russell Wilson stay put or don't end up in Denver. Like, I don't think it's an absolute slam dunk or guarantee that one of those two guys is going to be a mile high next year. And if they don't land Rodgers or Wilson, then I think Kirk Cousins may be the third best option. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo maybe there, Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield. I think you'd all take Kirk over those guys. And the biggest knock against Kirk Cousins was that he couldn't win in primetime. That's been the running joke, what people made fun of him all, of his career for. He's actually quietly gotten over that. He's got a handful of primetime wins lately, and he even won a postseason game 3 years ago, in New Orleans against the Saints. They got the shit beaten out of them by the 49ers on the road the next week. But maybe you get the post-primetime demons Kirk Cousins, and now it's just full-on good Kirk Cousins. All right, coming up in just a moment, we're going to get a reaction from the latest Mel Kiper mock draft. See who has the Broncos taking at the number 9 spot. Maybe it surprises you, maybe it doesn't. But before we get to the latest Mel Kiper mock draft, guys, subscribe if you love draft coverage. Because I love the NFL draft. I love mock drafts. Anything about the draft coverage. My producer Jeremy says he loves me. I love you guys. So make sure you hit that big red button and subscribe if you want someplace that's going to give you wall-to-wall off-season coverage about the NFL draft in April. This is your home for it, so come join the channel if you have not already. Mel Kiper, with the 9th pick in the draft, has the Denver Broncos selecting Nakobe Dean. Yeah, that's the drum roll right there. The linebacker out of Georgia. So this is one of the best linebackers I've seen in quite some time, actually. He can do a lot of stuff very well. He can play sideline to sideline. What does that mean? he's not a stocky guy. He doesn't just clog up the middle of the field. He can go and fly from one sideline to the other, meaning he could be sucked into a reverse over here and then end up making the tackle 30 yards down the field on a broken play and save a touchdown. That's the kind of player Nakobe Dean is. He's one of those do-it-all linebackers. If you're looking for what that means, kind of reminds me of Darius Leonard and Roquan Smith. He can get in the backfield. He can sack the quarterback. He can intercept, force fumbles. He is not just a one-trick pony. He does a lot of stuff, not just well, but very well. And that's why I think he's probably the best linebacker in this draft class. Look at his numbers. The reigning national champion this year, 68 tackles, 6 sacks, picked off the quarterback 2 times, and forced 2 fumbles. That's what I mean. He does a little bit of everything very well. It's kind of like an all-you-can-eat buffet, except every single dish is from a 5-star restaurant. That's the way I'll put it. That's Nakobe Dean here. It's Fogo de Chao. That's who it is, all right? If you ever made a Fogo de Chao, check it out. It's a free Fogo de Chao ad now. But grade the pick for me. Let me know. What do you think of it? You're going to give it an A, B, C, D, or F. Curious what you guys have to say, because you probably are thinking, you didn't draft a quarterback? Well, we'll talk about the quarterback and who else was picked around this in just a second. But let me know what you guys are grading. Let's get the red pen out in the comment section below. The draft for the Broncos really hinges on a trade. If the Broncos don't land a quarterback in a trade, then I'm suspecting that they will end up picking a quarterback at 9. If they do make a trade, let's say they get Russell or Aaron Rodgers, they're not going to have that number 9 pick, because that number 9 pick is going to go for the quarterback. So I think if they're picking in this draft in the first round, they're picking a quarterback. If they're not picking in this first round, then they already got the quarterback in the trade, okay? But if you guys want to get in on all the great action this upcoming weekend, let's say you want to put some cheddar, put some dough, some green on this divisional round for betting, those are the odds right there. I like Niners +6. I was bad last week. I'm going to bounce back this weekend. Winners only this weekend. But make all your picks over at BetUS. That's our proud sportsbook partner. They get you that 125% deposit bonus for going to chatsports.com/bet. Using the promo code Broncos125. Put $100 in, you get $225 to play with. Bet on the postseason with me. Not good last week. We're going to turn it around this week. So make sure you get your picks in over at BetUS. Let's take a deeper look at Mel Kiper's mock draft. See who else he had kind of going around Nakobe Dean. So he had the Giants at 7, taking David Ojabo, the edge rusher. Then the Falcons. I thought that was interesting. Derek Stingley Jr., the corner from LSU. They already got A.J. Terrell. But the big one, Nakobe Dean, the linebacker at number 9. Drake London and Malik Willis. And the name you're probably gluing your eyes to a little bit more than others is Malik Willis, because believe it or not, that's the first quarterback he has been taken in this draft. Here are the other quarterbacks he had being selected. Willis at 11 to Washington. Kenny Pickett, 18th to the Saints. Matt Corral, 20th to the Steelers. And the Lions with the Rams pick from the Matthew Stafford trade going with Sam Howell at number 28. If the Broncos don't trade for a QB, then I'm guessing they're going to take one of those 4 guys. I'm not a rocket scientist for saying that. Those are the top 4 guys, top 5. Maybe you could toss in someone like Carson Strong, Desmond Ridder. But if the Broncos don't land a trade in March or April, those are the 4 guys you got, well, us too included, will be studying a lot leading up to the draft. But what do you guys think? Should the Broncos draft a quarterback? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Curious what you guys have to say about this one, because if you want to draft a quarterback, then that probably means you don't want to trade for a quarterback, which isn't the worst route because you got 5 picks in the top 100. So you could use the first one on a quarterback and the next 4 on tools to build and help support that new rookie quarterback. One interesting note from Mel Kiper's draft is he has no quarterbacks being taken in the top 10. That would be a first since 2013. If you don't remember 2013's draft, that's fine. I love the drafts, but the 2013 draft was like the lineman draft, right? That's when you had 2 tackles, Eric Fisher and the Jags. I can't remember, Robinson. Luke Jokel, that's it. Luke Jokel goes 1 and 2, and E.J. Manuel was the first quarterback taken in the teens. So what I'm kind of, if you want to read the tea leaves a little bit, if Mel Kiper doesn't think any of these quarterbacks are worthy of a top 10 pick right now, are these all going to be E.J. Manuel type quarterbacks, Geno Smith kind of first-round, second-round talent, Bryce Petty, Christian Hackenberg? I really hope not. But look at the NFL draft order here, because the Broncos maybe don't even need to move up to trade up to get a quarterback. Look at the top 5. The Jaguars, do they need a quarterback? No, they got Lawrence. Lions, maybe, but I bet they roll it back with Jared Goff for one more year because he's got all that money tied to him. The Texans, hard to say because of Deshaun Watson. Maybe he could come back if they hire a coach he likes. And also, they kind of like Davis Mills. He played really well down the stretch. The Jets, no, they got Zach Wilson. Giants, they seem to actually still want to stick with Daniel Jones, so I think it's unlikely. Look at 6 through 9 here. The Panthers, maybe / probably. I doubt they like Sam Darnold all that much, but they've had a revolving door at quarterback for 3-4 years now, so maybe they want to just, stick to someone long-term and try to make it work. Giants, again, unlikely. Falcons, I bet they stick with Matt Ryan. And then you got the Broncos. Of those 9 teams, only Denver is the most glaring, obvious team that absolutely needs a quarterback. So Broncos may not even have to move up to get their top guy, which is pretty spectacular for a GM to be like, our number 1 quarterback, we can reach at 9? We don't have to move up. We don't have to trade away future assets to get our top guy. It's a pretty good deal for George. This is going to be an awesome offseason, though. To wrap up the video, this will be a loaded offseason between draft coverage, trade rumors, all that good stuff. So if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you hit that big red button, join the channel, and we will catch you later here on the Broncos Breakdown.